Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Lessons with Louis, and today I sit down with a great mentor of mine, David Gilna. His socials are at Irish Playwright on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and he is the organiser and creator of At Lightning Comedy, which was inspired by the time when he was struck by lightning, which has inspired many of his projects, including plays, movies, screenplays, and he's a very talented man and has really looked after me. And we collaborated on a film called Ye Clown together, which did really well at the festival circuit. And more projects to come. And we talked about the first time we met, when I interviewed Saoirse Ronan, how he wrote for Fair City, what to do in this cutthroat business, how he's a comedian, how important second chances are, how he died for 3 minutes and 47 seconds. We talked about the 25th anniversary show at the National Performing Arts School, and just how to feed your creative soul. So here we are. We did this at the Lord Mayor's, which is Dave's local. Enjoy. And as always, if you like the podcast, make sure you share it with someone you think would like it and spread it around. And thank you for your support so far. Alright, welcome to another episode of Lessons with Louis. And today I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend, David Gilna. How are you this morning?
This afternoon? Very well, my friend.
And we are here in the Lord Mayor's in Swords, which is your
hometown, the Mecca,
stomping ground.
My local pub. Quite fitting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is quite fitting. But we're on the 7-Up and the tea. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Americano, baby, with a bit of sugar. And tell us a little bit about your week. How has it been so far?
Well, actually, it's nice to come back here because I ran my last comedy event here on Sunday night, and your fine self was on camera. It sold out, 100 people. It was electric. The punters had a great time. The comedians had a great time. So it was an amazing kind of full circle to close my Lightning Comedy shows here, because the venue that we're sitting in right now is going to be closing down. It's been operating for 350 years, so it's a piece of history. It's got a thatch roof, so it's quite iconic, and to have an event like that in my hometown was pretty special.
And David, how should I label you? I think we had a debate about this before. Creative artist, David Gilna.
Yeah, I would say creative artist, because there's so many things that I do, but yeah, even anyone who's listening to this and who has, different streams of creativity, I would just put it all under the one box as a creative artist. So playwright, screenwriter, actor, comedian, producer, director, drama facilitator. So yeah, I tick a lot of boxes.
And what did you start with? What was the one that kicked
acting was my true passion, to make people laugh, to entertain. I was a kid. I did a local talent competition. I dressed up as Gene Butler for my sins, and we won the competition. And then someone in RTE kind of spotted that we had talent. Like, we didn't just we rehearsed like 6 days a week in the local parish hall, and we were doing like sketch characters of the river dance, and we had fun and we made people laugh, and we couldn't Irish dance to save our lives, but it worked because we worked hard. And then when I realised to make people laugh, to entertain, something kind of sparked me being on stage. I loved it straight away from the age of 5, and then I went to the National Performing Arts School where we met each other, and I was mad into my sports. I was a national world champion martial artist. Football was my life, and I never thought that that would change. I never thought that I'd stop going to football practice. I kept martial arts going, but going to the factory every weekend, rehearsal space, the power of imagination, meeting amazing people, learning about dancing, singing, acting, musical theatre, that sparked, that was a huge game changer for me.
And I'll have to actually bring it back to the first time we met. Do you remember? No, you don't. It's okay.
No, okay, I'd say the first time would have been, in my recollection, because I was living away for, let's say, 9 years. So I would say I had a residency as a writer in the factory, and you were interviewing Saoirse Ronan. Am I right?
I think I met you before that.
Just because I did a class. Did I come in and do a class? I was covering for someone, Gilna Neyman. They've been on to me about teaching. I was like, I don't teach kids. I don't teach drama. Blah, blah, blah.
I'm too cool.
And they're like, come on, you're a great teacher. I do a lot of work. I did a lot of workshops in London and America, and they're like, come on. So my first class, you're in my first class, because it was in studio 3 or 4, next door to Marion's ballet class, because I know the factory did the outlet. So I remember, was that class?
It was, do you know, just when you go into the factory?
Yeah.
Straight through. The kitchen area, the hangout area.
Yeah, it would have been, did you have Sinead probably, did you?
No, it was actually, we were brought in, so it was not a normal day.
Did I do an extra class for your students or something?
Yeah, you did like an extra workshop. And because you're working on a script.
Oh yeah, well, I got commissioned to write a script. That's what I was writing in the factory. Yeah.
And you're coming in for like inspiration or getting us to do improvisations. And I remember...
Was I quite intense back then?
It was a little bit intense, but it was good intense, like, because we were all like... but yeah, remember, this was so intense what you did. You were getting us all to be zoo animals.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I was a lion, and I was being like a sneaky lion. I was like, I'm Leo, the lion. And you were like, I want to hear you roar. And you like roared at me. It was so good. It was brilliant though. And then I was like, ah!
Oh, yeah. London David.
Oh, it's amazing. And then you came back, and then, yeah, we started teaching together.
Yeah.
Cool crack.
We worked well together. We had a good working relationship, and that's nice. I had how to plan out a class. If anyone doesn't know, like, no matter what you teach, singing, dancing, acting, there's always a class plan, and you plan it out for a year. And we just sparked naturally. We got on well with each other because we've got passion. Got passion for 1, the business, entertainment business, 1, 2, drama, and then 3, to educate the next generation. Because I had great mentors in life, which opened up a lot of doors for me, and I believe that it's only right to, you know, pass on that wisdom and to inspire the next generation of, because there's extremely talented individuals in this country from like grassroots up.
It's ridiculous. The amount of talent is insane.
They'll all be unemployed.
So bleak. No, but you're very positive. Like, that's not your approach towards.
No, God, you have to have a neck on you. You have to take that jump. You have to take risks. You have to cut out negative people in your life. That people will not want you to succeed, especially in this industry. It's cutthroat, and you think people are happy for you, but they aren't, because if you're in work, they're not in work. Whether it's acting, writing, comedy, screenwriting, it's cutthroat for a reason, because only 5% of the pool make a living, a wage, a career. So yeah, it is. But once you never forget your true values, why you do this, and if you love it, and I'll tell anyone, the day you stop loving this, leave. Take a break and then come back to it, because the arts is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's with you for life. But the day you stop loving it and the day you find it a chore, no, it's not for you. Because I've seen so many talented people give up and take a break, and rightly so, because it's very tough. It's a very tough industry to survive in.
And you said earlier that you moved away. What brought you away?
At a point, I had a residency in a place called the Access Theatre in Ballymun. It was an incredible development for me. They gave us a rehearsal space. They gave us a free theatre, a space, marketing, PR to one of my debut plays, and they really nurtured development. The guy called there was Neve, Mark, and the director Ray Yates. And during the play, I wasn't that confident as a writer. I didn't put my name on the poster as the playwright. I just put it as the production company, and we set up with my friends. And an executive producer was in the audience and asked to speak to the writer, and I met her. Her name was Bridget de Courcy, and she was the executive producer of Fair City. And then the next week I had a job writing for the national soap. Never wrote for television before. Threw me in the deep end. An incredible experience. Learned so much about television. And then I was offered an opportunity to go to London, but before that I got funded for my first short script. That I wrote a script because I learned a lot from television, learned a lot from working in Fair City, so I wanted to write a script in that medium. So I got funding for my first short film, which is about depression and suicide, called My Happiness, directed by a guy you know, and you and I know, a guy called Glenn Gannon. Made that film, and then it was about May 2010, and I got up an opportunity to have a place to live in London. And I thought, yeah, I'd kind of done everything I had to do. I've toured 32 counties. I played the Olympia and played the Gaiety. I played some of the most incredible venues throughout the country. And I thought, it's time for the next challenge. And blessed with the people I worked with. And before I left, I was offered a job in the Project Theatre with an amazing playwright. But I knew in my heart, I was offered a small television role and a play in the project. And I knew in my heart, it was time to move, because if I think I would have taken those jobs, it could have made me in a different direction. So I went to London, and London was the game changer for me. I was running pubs like everybody working in the hospitality industry in London, and I have a background as a publican. I've got a business in that trade as a side project. And then I got my play by a guy called Gerald Arman, who had a play called Oh, it'll come back to me now in a second. He developed a play called Tom Crean. Tom Crean's been touring all over the world for the last 15 years, won every award in theatre, and he saw potential in my play, and he produced it in the Waterloo East Theatre, and I was living behind the theatre. So when this opened up, I couldn't believe it. I knocked on the door every day when the builders were there, 7 days a week, until he finally said, all right, I'll meet up with you. And he did. And I had a few references of producers, Donald Shields, Breda Cash and Pat Moylan. And Pat Moylan was involved in the theatre. And when I gave the reference, he didn't tell me that she was a business partner at the time. And he read my script and he said, yeah, I'll produce it. And he put the play on. Thanks to incredible people who funded the play over here as well, through funded.ie and the various businesses. And the play had sold out. We got a 5-star review in The Guardian. And we didn't realise what we were up against. We didn't realise the importance of a good review. I've never had that many reviewers to see any of my productions. We are a group of Irish people just having the crack of his kill, and something sparked. The actress Martine McCutcheon, she came to see the show, talked about it, then her agents came, and then Amy Winehouse's people came to see the play before she passed away. Her husband at the time, her boyfriend should I say, Reg Travis, and all his team. So incredible people came to the show, supported the show. The run sold out, and from that I got a phone call to say we'd like to develop your play into a feature film. And I thought it was a joke. I was like, feck off, you know. And yeah, so then I was very fortunate as a young playwright running bars in London. I had a play that sold out for a month with a 5-star review. No, it was panned in other reviewers, but Conal Carney, he directed the play.
Yeah, I met him.
You met Conal. Conal used to be a musical
He
theatre.
did one of my exams. He was one of my examiners. Yeah.
Conal is incredible, and Conal, before I was going to London, I needed training, and he trained me up for a year, 1-to-1. He was an incredible teacher, and so I asked him when he directed the play, because Ray Yates was doing a play, The Parting Glass by Dermot Bulger in New York. So Ray was tied up, and I rang up Jill Doyle and said, I think Conal would be perfect for this. Conal took on the job. He did an amazing job. But he said something that was really important. He says, no matter what happens when we leave this rehearsal room, it's the best it can be. No matter what any reviewer says, or any actor, any director, this is the best. Do we believe in this play? And we all did. And then magic happened, because we believed in what we were selling. And if it wasn't everybody's cup of tea, we knew there was a market for it. And then there was a market for it. We sold out, and I was quite fortunate. I was one of the youngest playwrights ever to sell his the rights to my debut play to the studios, to Hollywood, to
The Machine.
The Machine.
And how did that play come about? How was the story inspired? What?
I was so take it back 18. I was involved in a film called Dawn of the Dead, directed by Zack Snyder, and I was based in Toronto, and I was offered to work under the set designer for a year.
Can I pause? How does that happen?
How does that happen? Fate. I went over to New York. I was hustling. A friend of a friend made a phone call. My auntie knew somebody in the business who took me on as an assistant, and I was assistant set designer. I was the assistant to the head set designer. His name was Steve Suchuk, and he was closing down cities in Toronto and building sets and blowing up helicopters, and it was a zombie film. And then obviously they all knew I was trained to be an actor, so then they got me to dress up as a zombie, and did get to be in the film, and Ving Rhames was in the film, and I was just Hollywood films at the age of 18 with Zack Snyder, who like directed 300 and all these incredible films, and I was there and I was 18. I was like, yeah, this is amazing. Then they offered me a year's job, and I said no, I'll come back to educate. I went back to Ireland to educate in theatre for another year. Then I was going back. I just finished doing a show in the Olympia with Gilna. I think it was The Power of Three. And I was going back to meet all the contacts that I had. I was staying in Boston, and I had an accident where I was hit by lightning, and I was left in a coma and paralysed. So one of the specialists said to me, if you write every day as a form of therapy, this will help you. And I wasn't speaking to many people after my accident, so I started to write. And then that's how the idea of the play came about, the one we had in London. And the play toured in Ireland for a year as well before I took it to London. But it was interesting, for your listeners, it was reviewed by the Abbey Theatre, and they really gave me a great review, a critique, should I say. And I changed the name. And when I brought the play over to London, because it was so successful in London, all the people who turned down the play originally, and they should have, by the way, because you're starting out, you're young, you're ambitious, you think you can achieve anything, they all wanted to hop on this new play. And I was like, well, it's the same play you read. And there was I think it was at the Fringe, I was invited to meet all these artistic directors. From that I got to work with Ray Yates again, and Steve Falloon, and so many incredible people in the industry from that pitching meeting. But one artistic director kind of ripped up my script in front of me like a bully and just said, look, this is brutal. And we just sat in silence, I think, for 3 minutes, until it's like you had 5 minutes with each kind of director. From that meeting I picked up my play tour in 6 locations in Ireland. But this one person, if I'd listened to that one person, I wouldn't have brought the play to Ballymun, I wouldn't have brought the play on a tour, the play wouldn't have gone to London. So, but you have to believe in whatever you're selling or the project that you're invested in. I kind of believed in it. Looking back now, I wouldn't put the play on again. But it was a really great time in my life of just fun. We were living on floors, we didn't know anything about reviewers and all these famous people who came to see the play, and 5-star reviews inside the theatre, and people were commending you for your acting, and the lighting designer, and for the direction. And we were this independent theatre in the heart of London against all the big boys in the Young Vic, the Old Vic, the Globe, and here we are selling out every night. So that was quite special.
How do you react to something like that?
You don't. You just kind of, you move on to the next day. Our focus was to sell that every day. We were out hustling, flyering, and social media wasn't really big back then in 2011. As in, for us, it wasn't like a huge part of our lives that it is now. It was just on the street, newspaper interviews, radio interviews. It was just, we hustled, we worked so hard to make that a success, and it was amazing because we had a group of like-minded people who wanted that to be a sellout, and it was, and we'll always have that memory for the rest of our lives. It's quite special. And
when dealing with haters, let's call them, like people who are trying to get you down, do you ever have a moment in your head like, shit, like maybe they are right, maybe they...
look, I'm not going to lie to you, like, I'm a positive guy because I was given a second chance in life, but sometimes you do get down, and sometimes online trolls or people who will stab you in the back or in the front. But you know what? You build the right team of people, the right creative team. Once you have that in place, people with your same principles, great work ethic, and people you can trust, then you can create magic in any art field. TV, film, music, theatre, concepts, video content, creative content for online. Once you have the right team of people, that's the game changer, I think. You just have to take it on the chin. This industry is, show business, and there's a big part of business because this industry makes money, so, and there's only a small percentage of this to go around, so of course people are, going to be cutthroat. But my mantra, my philosophy is, the right team with the right people, the right project, you can make anything happen. Genuine, but you have to believe in what you're selling. I could sell sand to the Arabs, but I have to believe 100%. Ice to the Eskimos. I love what I do.
And as a creative artist, do you ever find you have a battle of your passions? And that one maybe overrides the other, or?
No, I like kind of, acting was solely my life, and I love theatre, and I was just touring plays after plays. And not the love that was, not that I was losing it, I was falling out of love with it, but I wanted something different in my life. And I wanted to take a step back. I would write plays for the rest of my life. I love writing. I love being in a rehearsal room. I love what actors, bring my words to life. But I'm personally at the moment, I'm taking a break from theatre as an actor. I used to write for comedians for a long time. And then my agent said to me in London, instead of writing for comedians or writing for shows or shadow writing, would you not do it yourself? So I'm only new to stand up in this country, but it's kind of opened up a lot of doors. I'm climbing up the ladder quite fast. I'm going to be working on my debut show to tour to 12 countries. It's going to be called A Bolt from the Blue, which is when lightning strikes on a sunny day. So like that, you would have told me 2 years ago, if I met you, you said, would David, would you ever see yourself as a stand-up comedian? I'd say not in the month of Sundays, but now I love it. You know, I'm selling out venues, I've got a good brand in Lightning Comedy, and I'm having fun. I got commissioned to write a new play, which I'm quite fortunate for. Now I know someone's listening, I was commissioned to do this and he's selling out this. Flick it back 10 years, I was performing to 2 people in the room, 3 people, 4 people, you know. On Sunday we had 150 people here. So it's just, you have to push, hustle, knock down as many doors, and every no you get, you're closer to the yes. So right now I'm quite lucky. I've been funded every year for the last 4 years as a writer. My shows have all sold out, touch wood. Handy to have that table there.
It was on purpose.
But there is no secret to success. There's no secret to how my shows sell out, but the only secret is my work ethic and your work ethic, and relentless 7 days a week.
Stop.
What?
Stop.
Yeah, that's it. Like literally, I can't tell you will I sell out, will it won't sell out. I don't know who's going to buy tickets, but it's been a great journey. And like every punter who buys a ticket for my show, I'll meet with them. You see me, I'll chat with every single person. Yeah, people who are taking money to spend on a night out or get a babysitter to come to any of my shows artistically, I can't thank them enough, because without them, without any punter, I've got no show. So I've built up a great relationship, and you could see on Sunday that's what I had. It's these people who I invest in time in, and they're getting something out of it, and I'm getting something. I'm getting a career out of it, and they're getting a great night's entertainment.
And how do you deal with that uncertainty of, as you said, like 2 years ago, you wouldn't have pictured yourself doing stand-up. Does that uncertainty ever give you anxiety, or does it excite you?
I'd be always nervous before every gig. Like, I'm not, I always rehearse before every gig. I always have that moment of like, I was doing a gig and it was like 400 people, and I was standing there going to myself, I have to make these people laugh. How mad is that? Like, am I insane? 400 strangers. And it was an amazing night once you get that laughter, and the first one that breaks. But I've take it back to when I was a kid in Swords doing the local talent competition. I've always wanted to entertain, make people laugh. I think that's what it stems to.
Make them laugh, kid.
Make them laugh, kid. I love show business. I love the entertainment business. Whether I'm directing, producing, behind the scenes. Now there's things that I wouldn't like, videography, editing. I can do it. I taught myself, but it's not my forte. You know what I mean? So I'm being lucky that I can act, I can write, I can direct, I can produce. I can do stand up, and I'm kind of an act as well. I acted in the West End for years, but don't say no to it. Keep on saying yes till you have to say no, and more opportunities. Like, I wanted to direct a short film, and people said, "Oh, you can't direct. You've never done it before." But I teach kids every weekend. I've directed plays. So when you're teaching shows, you want the best out of your students. So for me, it was a really good mapping system from go to directing kid shows, to directing students, to then directing on set. Collaborate with your fine self, who's got passion. You're very talented. And we did a 1 minute short as a kind of test, and that went on and won loads of awards internationally, because we had a great creative team. We all believed in the project, and we had you on camera, we had Carl O'Donovan on editing, Frank Allen and my nephew Nathan Clark, and then Trisha O'Keefe on music, with the backing of Fawcett Circus, our national circus. We had beautiful locations in Cashel, and so, do you know what I mean?
It's just stars aligned.
Yeah, everything all falls into place, and you'll realise that there will be projects that, back in the day, I would work on any gig. Now I would turn down certain gigs because I want to work with certain people. So we all do gigs at the beginning for money to pay the rent, but then it comes a certain time. It's like, what, that person is involved in that gig. We don't see eye to eye, or I don't want to be stuck in it on tour with that person. And that's nothing against anybody. It's just you mature, you grow up, and you go, yeah, I'm happy to work with these people. Or what, I don't believe that role is right for me, so I'm going to say no to it. And it's not an ego thing. It's just actually trusting your craft. Trusting your gut feeling. Like,
as you said earlier, like, I really believe in the idea of always saying yes to a new project or new idea. Like, I love to throw myself in the deep end. I'm always trying to push my students to do that. Like, I had a student and he was like, I don't know how to edit, so I'm not going to do it. And I said, why aren't you going to do it? And he said, I don't want to fail. And then I said, do you not know that failure is the best thing?
Failure is a gift, my friend. Failure is a gift, the greatest gift in life, because you learn from your failures. As someone said, they're not failures, they're stepping stones to success.
I think I saw the same Instagram story.
Was it Kenneth Branagh? I think it was Kenneth Branagh. Was it Kenneth Branagh?
I think.
Did we share it to each other? But I just loved it.
No, one of our mutual friends
Yeah.
definitely put that up on something. Yeah.
It was stepping stones to success, and I thought, wow, that's amazing. From like an international, esteemed actor. But I think it could have been Kenneth Branagh. But we'll double check that.
He's done everything.
I love him.
You just forget that. Like I forgot he was in Harry Potter as one of the teachers.
Director, stage, film, acting in incredible cinematic experiences. But yeah, it's like that. There's a great Irish singer-songwriter guy called Shay Healy who I worked with maybe 12 years ago. Shay said to me, "Don't let anyone pigeonhole you into a box. You are a multimedia artist." Some people in this country would like, "Are you an actor? Are you a writer?
What are you?
What are you? You can't be both." And you're like, well, if you're talented in both, well, of course you can be. Now, if you're not good at, something, well then, yeah, fair enough. Take it on the chin. Always listen to criticism. Don't have to agree, but always listen to be open to take a step back and look at your own craft, whether it's writing, performance, And that's why you have to have good mentors. People who say, "Oh,
that doesn't
suit there. I don't think that bit's working. I don't think that scene looks good." That's why it's important to have good people around you to tell you honestly how it is.
You mentioned earlier that you had a second chance at life. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
No, I was on a J1 visa, Irish student going to live in Boston, with my friends, having fun, just living the American dream. And all of a sudden, on a sunny day in Boston, I was hit by lightning. What are the chances? I know.
You say it's so like off the shoulder, like it's nothing.
It's become just a part of my life, and it'll always be bigger than anything I ever do. And people are fascinated by the afterlife, fascinated about near-death experiences. So yeah, I could talk about it all day because I'm at one with it. I'm at ease with it. I'm scared from it, so it's a part of who I am. And I died for 3 minutes and 47 seconds, and I woke up in the Boston Medical Center in the intensive care unit. I was told I'd never walk again. I was told I was going to go blind. My nervous system completely shot. And with the power of a positive mind, with an incredible set of family and friends, physio, rehab, writing every day as a form of therapy, which the lightning took away a part of my life, but also gave me an incredible gift in where I am now. I would have been a young actor, filming in the States, away from my family and friends, and now, if my accident hadn't happened, I wouldn't have met you. We wouldn't have worked in the projects we've worked on. I don't know what, journey I would have gone on. But so look, it took a lot of things away from me, and made me reflect about life and about the afterlife and about how lucky we are, that how blessed we are, that every day you should never take it for granted. We all have bad days, but it was taken away from me, like Thanos in
spoilers
in the Avengers. But yeah,
do you have any memory of the 3 minutes?
Yeah, I remember looking at myself in an out-of-body experience. Me lying there, me looking at myself. That was surreal.
What?
Yeah. And I remember thinking there was 2 points. I was only in ICU for a week. I recovered quite quick to get out of hospital. But I remember thinking in 2 points in my life that I was dying. I thought that was it. I remember looking at the nurse, and it was day 3, and I got her to put her hands on my leg. It must have been ice cold. And I could just tell from her reaction as a human to my reaction and I felt weak, and I felt like the energy was leaving my body, and then I just went to sleep. And then I just kind of prayed, and I said, "Come on, I'm 18, don't do this to me, give me one more crack at the whip. Whoever you are, just please give me one more chance." Then I woke up, and that was like taking my first breath back on this planet. Was a trip and a half, to say the least. But yeah, it becomes a part of you, and all that electricity flowing through your body, your skin burns from the inside out, the heat. Anybody can Google the facts about lightning. But yeah, it was an incredible experience.
Incredible, yeah, that's an interesting word to use. It's not negative or positive, it's just...
Yeah, it was...
incredible.
Out there.
And how long did that put you out?
Mentally and physically, 2.5 years. you know. Sometimes I lose sensitivity, you know, hot or cold. Can I tell the difference? If I cut myself, do I know I'm bleeding or if I'm in pain? So yeah, there's like things I still have to deal with, but yeah, I just don't let it faze me. It is what it is. I'm walking, I'm here, I'm creating, you know.
And it's great that you like put it into a lot of your art and your creativity.
Oh god, hugely.
Like the gift of lightning, play, scripts.
Oh yeah, people always take the mick out of me because like I use lightning a lot to sell. My company for 10 years is Red Lightning Productions. I've just closed that because I'm starting a new venture. But that was like 10 years of my craft with my friends, and then my play, Gift of Lightning, feature film, Gift of Lightning, my comedy, Lightning Comedy. My debut comedy show is going to be called A Bolt from the Blue, which is when lightning strikes on a sunny day. So yeah.
And have you seen your t-shirts?
Celebrating 25 years at the National Performing Arts School, founded by Jill Doyle and Eamon Farrell. Hashtag plug, hashtag sponsor.
Hashtag ad.
Hashtag ad. What? And it's celebrating all the teachers and all the past students, and obviously my story as a lightning boy. To explain to your listeners is that every past teacher has the next generation of actors and performers in the NPAS playing a younger version of yourself and your story about coming into the arts.
And you know what's mad about the two who are playing me? There's a picture of myself and the two of them from the last show.
Oh, the last show.
And I found it, like I remember.
Which was called?
A Wizard Calls.
A Wizard Calls, there you go.
And I was shockingly
The Wizard.
But yeah, and I was like, you guys are gonna be like me when you grow up, like teaching or whatever. And now they're not literally me, but they're literally me.
Yeah, no, it's funny to see, because I didn't tell any of the students that it was actually about me being struck by lightning. Do
they not know?
They found out.
Just Google your name.
They found out yesterday. Last weekend. They're like, because I wrote this piece about being in a coma, and then someone was like, oh man, this is like someone being in a coma. And I was like, and then someone in the class was like, yeah, we know, because he was. And they're like, what? So that was,
someone leaked it.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's great. Teaching's great crack.
I love it.
Yeah.
I learn a lot from it, you know, it inspires my writing, and yeah, I love to teach. I just see the happiness in their faces, their imagination. It's incredible, it inspires. You know, it's just the most important tool. I worked with this actor, he was an Olivier Award-winning actor in London. We were doing a play together, and he said to me, never forget the most important tool. I was like, what is? As an actor, he says, your imagination. The day you can't imagine anymore, the day you stop training that part of your brain is the day you're not an actor. It kind of resonated with me, and now I get it more than everything. So when I see these kids in the rehearsal room, you know, so that's why I always focus on my imagination and my kind of development or craft, because you're always learning, you're always re-educating, you're always doing workshops, you're always, you know, and you never stop learning as an actor or performer or an artist.
It's great. And what keeps you motivated?
What keeps me motivated? Good question. What keeps me motivated? One, not gonna lie, success. Okay.
What is that though?
To me, well, it could be anything. It could be financially. It could be review. It could be. I always set a high barrier for myself. You know. So when I put on a production or a project, I want it to be the best, and I want everybody who comes to that to have an amazing experience, whether it's visually, whether it's, you know, it's immersive. I just want people to experience the best from a production of mine, and that drives me. You know, and financially, I've set myself targets, you know, to achieve, to hit with my mood board. You know, I'm very much in, like, you know, kind of setting myself goals. Because it's important to this industry, because anyone listening who's an artist will know, you know, you will get commissioned 1 year and then you're absolutely out of work for like 10 months, so you have to be very careful with your money. I was always good on the business acumen, so I'd be very, you know, at the start when I used to get paid a check, I go mad. Let's go to America,
London town,
let's go to Vegas, let's just spend it all. And now I'm like, okay. But I had fun. I had a lot of fun. And now
I feel like there's a story there.
There's a lot of stories there we won't be talking about in this podcast. This will be the midnight Louis Maxwell
the
podcast.
locked lesson with Louis.
Yeah, the lock-in lessons. Lock-in, I like that. But because we're in a pub technically, we're doing this upstairs in the Mayor's. But yeah, it's just to be a bit more. So motivation, setting myself targets, reaching those targets. And then bigger. I always want to go bigger. So like from starting in a 50-seat venue to, so prime example, my comedy club Lightning Comedy is now playing in Swords Castle, marquee event, opening its own summer festival, and you know, a couple of hundred people, you know, going to see comedy which I created with an amazing comedians. That is July 18th, by the way, if you're listening. If you're still listening, it's July 18th, Swords Castle. And the winner of the last year's Fringe, Paul Curry, is headlining. Al Forn, the Impressionist, John Cleary from Savage Eye, David Riley from the Tri Channel. So yeah, it's like 12 amazing comedians. It's going to be absolutely insane. And all money raised on the night is in aid of Aware, a charity very close to my heart. And if you go on to Lightning Comedy on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram for details about tickets and shows and what we do at Lightning Comedy.
And is there any podcasts or audiobooks or anything you go back to
no, the only
inspired?
thing I listen to is a friend of ours podcast. It's besides yours is Stephen Farrell.
Those are my save.
Yeah, boom. And Joe Rogan. Listen to Joe Rogan. I listen to an MMA podcast, boxing podcast, IFL TV, yourself and Stephen. Regards to books, I just constantly read plays all the time. Really, and you know, I love to read papers. I read the paper every day. I think what happens in society, if you keep on reading articles that you agree with, I'll always read a whole paper from start to finish, whether it's the online version or in the paper version, because I like to hear viewpoints that I wouldn't agree with, you know. I like to get a full circle. But yeah, no, I love to read. I read the papers every day. I love politics, because it kind of fits into when I'm writing a project or a play or a script. So yeah, no, I love to read. And music, man, music inspires me. I'll always have music on in the background, always when I'm writing. And I write in strange places. I write in the same coffee shop every morning in Swords at the HQ. Everybody knows my desk. Everybody comes over and says hello to me. And then I'll write in pubs. And then I'll sit. My office is just 2 minutes from this pub, which is handy. I share it with my father. And it's quite handy because then I can sit down and concentrate on what I've kind of doodled around for the day, the ideas, and then if I really need to, 2 hours on my own. Some people find it hard to write in busy environments. To me, I find it nice and relaxing because as a writer, it's kind of quite isolated what you do. So I like to be surrounded by a bit of, you know, energy, flowing traffic.
Was it you who told me to read the book about writing in a restaurant?
No.
I must find it because there's apparently this book by this Oscar-winning screenwriter, and she like argues the whole point of writing a restaurant or writing a cafe.
Yeah, I write in a coffee shop.
Look around.
Yeah, I write in a coffee shop 7 days a week. First thing in the morning, get my coffee, my banana, and my glass of water. It's a running joke at this stage because I know everybody in the village. But yeah, that's what I do, and I love it. Because I've got I've got a screenplay, a play, and a comedy show to have completed by October 17th. So I've got 3 deadlines, 3 projects, and I kind of spend my time, and if nothing else, I don't want to write anything else. They're the 3 things that my main focus is on at the moment.
And have you come across any funny stories from sitting there just hearing conversations?
Oh, I hear conversations all the time, man. That's another book, actually, you know. It's another book in development. Yeah, I just listen to people all the time talk about their problems, about life, and I just sit there. The playwright is always listening, ladies and gentlemen. He's not really listening to music with his earphones.
And we're coming close to the end, but like, what would be the main piece of advice you give to anyone?
Main piece of advice is, first of all, is nothing is going to happen without you making it a reality. So the driving force has to be you. No agent, no manager, no commission is going to change your life in the arts or in the entertainment business. You have to be the driving force. Now, yes, it does help to have a great agent. It does help to have a great manager. But all of those things won't happen unless you make it happen. Whether you stage your first show if you're not getting work as an actor, or you set up a club, or you set up a music event or a Battle of the Acts, or you go out there and direct a music video for your friends for free. The idea is that the hustle has to come from you, and that's really important. You have to have a love for it. If you don't have a love for it, if you chase the money in this industry, you won't be a success. 100%. My godfather was an incredible chef in New York, and he always had a passion for horses, and he became one of the top horse trainers in America, and that was his passion. He was cleaning up dishes in a restaurant in New York, then he became an incredible horse trainer. So the idea is that was his passion. So the idea, this is my passion. I do it 7 days a week. I don't have a day off, and because I love what I do, and I want to sell out the Olympia Theatre with my debut comedy show. I want to tour London, New York, Paris, Rome. All those things will happen. I will make it happen. But will there be a lot of failures on the way? Oh, you better guess right. There will be 1,000 failures, but it won't stop me. I've got a plan, your vision board, your 5-year journey. It's really important. It's a marathon, as I say. It's not a sprint. Plan out where you want to be in 5 years' time. I always plan out in 5-year stints. Okay, what I want to achieve this year, what I want to achieve. So in the next 5 years, I'd like to write 2 plays. I'm ready. One already be finished by the end of the year, and 3 screenplays, and maybe 2 comedy shows in those 5 years. A children's book thrown in the middle. But that's a 5-year kind of time frame. It's not like, oh, people panic. I have to do this. I need to get this. Relax. Take a breath. Take a breather. Step back. You know what I mean?
I think there's just, with my generation, there's just an anxiety of not being important. Like, if you're not, one of these people.
Oh, influencer. I think.
Not even influencer, just like, I always use like Shawn Mendes as an example. Do you know him?
He played out the solo. I know him. He sold a 3 arena. Friends of mine went to the gig. Yeah, met him. Yeah.
First world tour. He was like 15. Do you know, madness? Do you know what I mean? Just stuff. But we're all on different journeys. What I try.
Is it Billie?
Billie Eilish? Yeah, 17.
17.
Number 1 artist in the world.
Coachella. Yeah. So yeah, and her brother produces the music with her too.
He's 21. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's madness.
Don't let age get into the way. Just stay focused on you and the projects that you believe in. Because there's a lot of things I still want to achieve, and if you give up, you give up. I don't blame anyone for taking a break, but taking a break is good, reflection on what you want next, plan, take a breath, take a breather. That's really important, I think.
I must actually take your advice. Like I think what scared me, up until I was 18, I always knew where I was going. I knew I was going to get there. I knew how to get there. And then I think when I was 18, I was just like, I got here. What's next? Do you know what I mean? What do I do?
And by the way, you'll always ask yourself that question. Your listeners will always ask that question. Nobody really actually knows. Genuinely. I know what I'm doing I know what I'm writing for the next 3 projects. I don't know where I'll be in 5 years' time. Don't let it phase you. Don't let it ease you up inside, anxiety to set in. Take a breather. One project at a time. Because we can worry a lot and panic because we've got no destination, we've got no map. You know what I mean? We don't know where we're going. Well, let's focus on a project. Let's focus on a job. Let's focus on this period of time. Boom. Tick
Skipping
box.
stones.
Yeah. You're building those foundations to, that breakthrough, that payday, that moment of, yes, I'm proud of this.
And what future projects or future events or anything, do you want to let us know? We know about the festival in Swords Castle on the 18th of July, and you can check it out at
I got commissioned to, thank you very much, Louis, #sponsor.
I got the hashtag plug.
Thank you my sponsors, Swords Express, and obviously I've been commissioned by Fingal County Council, Creative Ireland, and the Chief Executive, Paul Reid, before he moves to the HSE. I got commissioned to write a play called One for the Ditch, dedicated to a man who inspired my career, a man called Paddy Duffy, who passed away sadly last year. Paddy produced 2 of my plays, and Paddy gave me the greatest gift in life. He gave me the gift of confidence in my belief as a performer and as a playwright, and I wanted to write a play that was in dedication to him for being an incredible human to so many artists, and that has a public reading in Swords Castle in October. Keep an eye out for Lightning Comedy because we're in Navan May 31st. We have a summer bash in Lanigan's Pub on Eden Quay in Dublin June 5th, and then Swords Castle July 18th, and then my debut comedy show will be doing its previews in September, and that's going to be called A Bolt from the Blue.
And I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's going to be a good crack.
Hopefully I'll be there at many of these things.
And hopefully me and you will collaborate again on making films, and I really enjoyed working with you. We created a great short film, and I think in the future we will work together on a feature film. I think, I'll say it now, I believe that me and you will create an incredible feature film that will do quite well on the independent and film festival circuit, and obviously of course it'll be a Netflix special.
Hopefully. And Your Clown is on YouTube now, which I'll put the link
Oh, you put the link to that
below. And just before we finish,
Oh, you might have the new promo video ready to put the link of.
Of course.
Oh, yeah, you see. There you go. Your talented endeavours, listener.
Always projects on the go. But is there anything I forgot to ask? Anything you want to say that you didn't get a chance to say?
Just David Gilna on Twitter and Instagram.
Irish
playwright on Twitter and Instagram. David Gilna on Facebook. Hashtag plug. What a wanker. No,
Truth.
I would say is that, look, surround yourself with the right creative team. Take it project by project, and this is a marathon. It's not a sprint, and that's what I would say. And if you are a creative soul and you had to take a job that wasn't in the arts to pay the bills, or you had to, you wanted to get a formal education, you wanted to get a degree behind you, and you're upset and you're in a bad place, I would say to you, whether you do a nighttime course, whether you do a drama class at the weekend, where you go out with a camera and just take photos, or you do the odd open mic, that no matter who's listening, that never forget to feed your creative soul, because that will always be there with you. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Build the right team around you, and you'll realize who the snakes are. It takes time, but just believe a little bit more in yourself, because when that happens, magic can happen.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, and thanks so much for mentoring me and being someone I can come to.
Bless, man.
And that has been Irish playwright David Gilna.
Bam.
Brilliant. So I really hope you enjoyed that episode with myself and Irish playwright David Gilna. And if you want to find him at Irish Playwright on his social media channels, and he has a great festival coming up July 18th, the Comedy Festival in Swords Castle. So if you're around, check it out. All the proceeds are going to Aware. And thank you for listening. And if you want to support again, share it with a friend, share it somewhere, let the people know. Thank you for your support so far. I really do appreciate it. And my advice this week would just be, find something that keeps you calm. Find an activity you can do, or something different you can change in your week, in your routine, that will give you a moment of calmness. I've started doing yoga more frequently, and it feels great. I'm able to handle all these hurdles much easier, and I'd really recommend finding one little thing for yourself. And yes, have a great week.